Okay, so today I'm going to talk about drug resistance. The doctorarjaybe here, and I wanted to talk about what's going on with state of antibiotics, basically. You're talking about bacteria that have become resistant to antibiotics. Okay, so what's going on? What's happening here? Why are the bacteria becoming resistant? Now, some people are saying, and I think this is politics, by the way, but, whatever. Some people are saying that the reason for bacteria becoming resistant is that doctors are overprescribing antibiotics. Blame it on us, what the heck. In any event, what they're talking about is this. Somebody comes in to me with an earache, and they're in a lot of pain, and they say, Doc, I need an antibiotic. What am I going to do? I'm going to give them an antibiotic. Now, the official answer for what you do for an earache is nothing at all. You tell the patient, take some Tylenol, maybe put a heating pad against his ear, whatever, but you don't give him antibiotics. There's a group called the U.S. Preventive Services Organization that is a government organization that tries to look at treatments and different things, and their policy is that you don't use antibiotics for most of the respiratory illnesses that we're talking about. Nothing for sore throat, nothing for sinus problems, nothing for earaches, nothing for a bronchitis, all these things. The answer is you don't do anything. You let it get better on its own. Now, again, somebody comes in to me and they're coughing their brains out, and their throat's raw from coughing so much, and I'm going to tell them, oh, well, you're not supposed to do anything because the U.S. government has decided that. You're crazy. I'm going to put them on some antibiotics, make them feel better. Okay? I don't care what your research shows. That's just not human. Now, granted, I'm a retired physician, so I'm not doing that today. But I did this many times in the past, and I'm not feeling guilty about it. Okay? But what is the real answer? Because, like I said, I think this is politics. It's easy to blame the doctors. But what is really going on is livestock. You got 1 million chickens stuck in a house, and the space that they have to move around is this much. What's going to happen? Well, a couple of things are going to happen. One is that they're going to have to poop, and they're going to have to pee. And if they only have this much space, how can they avoid stepping in it? They can't. So they're walking through all this poop, on the ground all the time. And what do? You throw the feed around, and the chickens, spread the feed around by kicking it up in the air. So some of the seeds are going to be lying on the ground, and the chickens might eat that. They're going to be eating poop. So because of the fact that they're coming in contact with a lot of bacteria, some of those chickens are going to get sick. Now, if you have them all grouped together side by side like this, they're going to be touching each other. And so it's very simple to think that one chicken might mean a whole population of chickens might be wiped out with infection. So what do? They give them all the antibiotics. So you got 1 million chickens with antibiotics. Now, the thing is, even if they all needed the antibiotics, that's a lot of antibiotics to be given. And some of that antibiotics is going to go into the pee and the poop and the ground. And there are bacteria in the soil. I mean, if you dig a little bit of dirt out of the ground and you look it under a microscope, there's bacteria there. So whatever antibiotics have been excreted are going to go onto the ground, go into the bacteria on the ground, and some of those antibiotics are going to come in contact with bacteria. Now, when you got this, also some of this antibiotic goes down further, goes into the groundwater. And where does the groundwater go? It goes to a stream. Who drinks out of the stream? Different animals. So now you got animals that also might have bacteria in them, and they're getting some of these antibiotics. The problem is that if you don't kill a bacteria, you make it grow stronger. So let's just say you have bacteria and you have 100 of them, and you kill 90% of the bacteria. That's actually pretty good. If you kill 90% of the bacteria that are in my body, my immune system can take care of the rest of them. But if you're talking about 90% of the bacteria that are in the ground, where's the immune system? It ain't there, okay? So basically, you got 10% of those bacteria that have not died. And what does that mean? They are now resistant to the antibiotic. They weren't killed by the antibiotic. Now, it's possible with a resistant bacteria like that, you just give them more antibiotics. Sometimes what happens is they use a different antibiotic next time when they give it to the chickens. Now, just because I'm using chickens, don't believe that that's the only ones who get antibiotics. The cows get antibiotics, the pigs get antibiotics, even the fish get antibiotics. So all of these animals getting all of these antibiotics. And you know, there's a lot of cows, there's a lot of pigs, a lot of chickens, a lot of fish, all of them getting antibiotics. It's a lot of antibiotics being used. And you're talking about Dr. Bruno giving, his patient population antibiotics. I bet that there's a lot less patients in my practice than there were cows, then there were chickens, then there were hogs. So that's where a lot of the antibiotics are being used. And like I said, because they're given so much to animals that may not even need them, it's just being given like in their feed or whatever. It's just easy to get resistant bacteria that way. So when you hear, some politician or some celebrity or whatever saying doctors are bad because they're overprescribing antibiotics, just remember that it's a B and an S. BS. That's what I have to say. Because we all know that it's the livestock and it's not my patients. Okay, you take care.